Hi guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. We are super excited today because we've got Kate Davey on the podcast with us. We've been following Kate's journey and it is incredibly inspirational. She's doing it for our first Brits right now. She's battling it out at the top of the Elite 15 field, and she had her first podium finish at the Hong Kong Major, claiming her spot for the Elite 15 race at Worlds. Um, Kate, your performances have just absolutely skyrocketed this season, and the chance to chat with you, well, there's something that we really had to do. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh no, thank you very much for having me on. Yeah, and thank you. That was a very nice introduction.
Oh no, we're really excited to speak to you. And like Faye said, I mean, firstly, a huge congratulations for getting your world spot in Hong Kong. That was an incredible race to watch. But before we dive into anything like that too much, we thought we could start. You've mentioned the juggling a little bit just before we jumped onto the podcast, but we've been speaking to quite a few mums, and this kind of thing of like mum strength has been coming through. So we wondered if you could maybe give us an insight on how you juggle life, if you feel like you've got more strength now since having children and being an elite athlete as a mum.
The juggling does take a little bit of time to get used to. I have a lot of early mornings because I've said in like other podcasts, like no one misses with me at that time. So if I'm doing my training, then there's kind of less guilt or things like that. And I don't want my children to miss out on anything that they want to do after school. So I'm very, very lucky that my husband's parents live really close to us. So they help out so much with school runs and things like that. And it's lovely for the children because they get to see grandma and granddad. And but I do like to be there as much as I can to pick them up after school, take them to clubs, like watch my son at the track, take my daughter to ballet. And I want them to do all of those sort of things. So it does sometimes mean a bit of a crazy schedule. So it's often getting up at anything from 3:50 to 4 a.m. and then training, seeing then my first like lot of clients, then I'll train again, then I'll try and get some recovery in around the corner at Revive, a place I go to that has infrared saunas and cryotherapy and oxygen chambers things, and then try and get back to do the double school pickup, then the clubs, and then the homework, and then try and get my early night so I get my sleep in. So it is quite busy, but I actually quite like to be busy, and I like a schedule like that. I think it quite suits me and suits my personality. So I quite like it. And I think I'm definitely fitter now than I've ever been. So before I had children and things like that, I mean, I love my kids seeing me doing what I do as well, and watching my son like on the track. That's really cool. So watching him run, he runs so effortlessly. He's like 8 and can do 5K in 23 minutes. And
There'll be so many people that are like, what at that, won't there?
and you go out with him and he's just got such a nice stride. Like he just looks like he's just gliding. And that's super cool. So I really like the fact that they see me do it, and it's like the norm. So on Christmas Day, they begged to go and do a 5K on Christmas Day morning. So we went to Bushy Park, and there was 3,000 people there, all dressed up. We're totally dressing my husband up as an inflatable turkey next year, or Christmas pudding. I was like, oh, we've missed a trick here. And we did. So I ran with my son because he's quicker. So we split up. I did 5K with him, and my husband ran with my daughter, who's a little bit younger, and she did a 5K. And there's 3,000 people, and it was such a fun Christmas Day morning thing. So I love that it's part of their lives as well.
Yeah, it's like integrating it into the family, and I guess like it just shows you're inspiring them, and like kids just follow, don't they? Like they see mum do it, so that's a good thing for them to do. They pick up everything around them. Like
he's mega excited for he's now 8, and he couldn't do the London Hyrox Kids last year because he wasn't old enough. So I need to check, because I think the tickets were out today, so I need to check if it's got the kids bit on it. So I'll try and book him in because he's desperate to do it.
Oh, that would be so good. I know. I feel like as a kid I would have been like that. I think like, you know, like if Hyrox had been around when we were younger, I think like it's just like a giant obstacle course, isn't it? And you see everybody else doing it in the hype. As a kid, it must be like so exciting.
Oh, they get their like their plushy pillow things, those circle ones. I don't know if you've got kids that have these plushy pillow things, and they come into my room and they do wall balls up the up the cupboard, and it's so funny because George will turn around to Annabelle and he'll be like, "No rep."
You're not going deep enough.
And she kind of looks at me and I'm like, well, he's got a point.
Tough judging. Yeah. And I saw you said the other day he had his little spikes, his like first spikes on the thing. I was like, I remember getting that when I was at school and I kept getting like made to run 800 and 1500 and I hated it, but I remember getting a pair of spikes and like being so proud of them. So like when you saw him walking down with them, I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, because we struggled to get anything in his size actually. And then one of the other parents down there said, oh, you can get them in this make and this brand. So he kind of like looked at us like this. We're like, yes.
Gotta get them. Yeah, I know. Life changing. They are running on spikes on a track.
Because I've never used to be like a runner. Everyone thinks that's crazy, but I never actually used to be a runner. So I've never owned a pair of spikes ever.
I think, I mean, that is because of the times you're putting down. It is incredible. So what is your, we've listened to a few podcasts, but what is your like actual background? Is it golf? Like, I know you do golf, but like, I mean, you've got some great aerobic base from if it is golf.
So I've always been really, really sporty, and like I played like a lot of like football, hockey, like all the sports at school. I kind of was in all the different teams, but I didn't necessarily, I wasn't sort of just one sport really. I used to swim a lot. So then I started early 20s maybe. So I was late. I decided to start doing triathlon, and I did an Ironman and things like that. And it's because I could run, like I played a lot of sports, but I was never a runner that did like 5, 10, 15. Like I didn't do distances or anything. Like I might go to the gym and run on a treadmill, but not very fast. So then my whole thing was I wanted to teach myself to run. So I started doing triathlon because I liked the swimming aspect. I didn't really like the bike, so that's a bit silly because it's like the longest discipline.
So much of it is on the bike.
Yeah, I'm like, well, this is a really stupid idea to pick this. And then I just wanted to teach myself to run. And then I started getting better at running. So I was actually really late to running, which I think surprises a lot of people. And then got into CrossFit a bit, did a bit of CrossFit. And then after I had children, one of my friends said, oh, you should try this thing called Hyrox, because you like running and you like burpees. And, so I just thought it was running and burpees to start with. I was a bit upset that there was more to it than that. And then it's just gone from there, and I've really worked on my running. And like, I mean, I've seen a huge improvement in my running just in the last year, but over the last 5 years is where my running has really, really kicked off. So it's crazy. I've literally just turned 40 and I'm running faster than I've ever run. So interesting enough, you see some of the girls sort of saying they've come from a track and field base and they've run all their lives and things like that. I mean, if you put the work in and you train correctly, I don't know, I've kind of amazed myself that actually I could do it at this age, and I've done it sort of quite late on.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive. I think even like this season, watching your races, the running just looked so much stronger. Like, and I think was it in the what Las Vegas just passed, there was one point, and I think you were running not far behind Joanna, and like I think I just thought you just looked so strong. Like you looked so comfortable running at that pace. I don't know if that's the thing you've mainly focused on, the difference from last season to this season, but it definitely looked like you were really comfortable and really strong running around the track.
Yeah, Anthony sent me he worked out total run and rock zone and for Vegas, and he was like, you were actually, if you add your total time and your rock zone, he's like, you were actually the second fastest out there on the track. Yeah. I was like, oh, I said, are you sure? He was like, yes, Kate.
Yes, I did the maths. I am sure.
I trust his maths over mine. I'm just like, I just smile and nod a lot, and just agree and just do as I'm told. So yeah, I have worked on that. We've done a lot of threshold work, and I'll be honest, the thing that I have done more than anything is a lot of base, like a lot of zone 2. And I know everyone harps on about zone 2, but I never used to do it. I always used to be, because I love HIIT workouts, like going in 100% all the time. And actually, if there's one thing that I've learned in the last year, is I've actually been reined back a little bit. I probably run anything from 80 to just over 100 kilometers a week, depending on where we are in kind of the cycle as such on the program, if we're leading up or we're tapering off or we're building. And I don't know, I guess I'd say maybe like 70% of that was like just zone 2.
Yeah.
So I train my thresholds twice a week, but before I even start thresholds, I do 3K at zone 2. I do 3K after at zone 2, just keeping, I do a long Saturday or Sunday run, sort of anything from 16 to 20K, just plodding along. And so I think that's made a huge difference in giving me such a good base to work from. So then when I do want to run faster or push harder, I've got a really solid base.
And do you feel, because a lot of the time, I know you just said about the HIIT workouts, like we train a lot of people, and I feel like the same people that will go for Hyrox or do like CrossFit are the people that really love to like be in that, like sufferfest, come out sweating, feel like they've really done a good workout, and to try and, like you said yourself, to try and slow people down or to add a base and give them some workouts where they don't feel like maybe they've achieved as much because they're not sweating and they haven't blown out their ass for 45 minutes. Do you feel like that's helped you achieve, like hit the other sessions that you need to hit, because you've been able to have that like contrast in your training where you've got the base miles and the easier sessions, that when you actually have to hit a session, you haven't done like 4 HIIT sessions in a row, and by the 4th day you can't hit what the numbers and the weights you meant to hit, if that makes sense.
So I everyone asks about like rest days and things like that. So today is my active recovery day, but it still will take me anything from 60 to 90 minutes to complete my training. And it might be, I might do like a 70-minute row. I might do something where so today I was doing sort of ski and bike and things like that, just at a lower intensity. So technically I don't take a rest day because we find it's better for me to keep ticking over, but it's just at a lower recovery. But how I train on the other days, it's normally up to about 4 hours a day, like with all the different things, if there's a run in there, if there's your strength, your core work, if you've got like a WOD in there. But I have never, ever felt in the last year that I've come in and gone, oh, I can't do today. I found the programming just suits me, and it's different for everyone. Things suit different people, and some people it will work for, some people it won't work for, and you just have to find what works for you. And I found that last weekend I had quite bad DOMs, and I sort of came in and I had a long, easy run to start my day. By the time I've actually got back, I've kind of flushed my muscles out, I've warmed up, and I didn't even think about, I wasn't hurting by the time I got back from that, then hit all my other sessions, achieved everything I wanted to. And I think it was JK, maybe it was JK and Anthony, who were talking about, and it's a really good way of saying what I've probably been trying to do recently. JK was saying, make yourself available. I think in one of his podcasts with Anthony, or he was doing something on his Instagram the other day. And I totally got what he meant, because it's what I'm trying to do, like make yourself available so that when you turn up to train, you're like really showing up. So make the easy days your easy days, train and do exactly what you need to do, but look at, your recovery, your sleep and things like that. And I'd noticed, it's hard being a mum with your sleep and things like that. I'd noticed my sleep percentages had really dropped. They were like 67, 70%. And I need to be able to get those extra 1% from everywhere. And since I've been back from Vegas, I don't think my sleep score has dropped below 85%. And it's been 90 upwards for the last, I think, week. And I notice the difference when I'm training in here. And it's the things like, make your nutrition on point so that your body is fueled properly, you're hydrated, you've slept. So then when you turn up, you're more available to train. And I think it's such a good way of thinking about it, that it's not just the training, it's like everything around the training. And it really works. It makes you feel better. I turn up and I think I can really feel the difference after Vegas already, just from focusing a little bit more on my sleep.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a whole package thing. It's like everything has to align and work together to produce that end product, and for you to be able to train at your best and perform to your best. Definitely
spinning a lot of plates.
Yeah 100%.
There's always something else. Like, I think I was always like, okay, let's get the training focused on, and then you move to something else, and then you're like, right, now I need to up my sleep game. Now I need to just like, tweak the nutrition. Then you're like, now I can go back and do a bit more like training and things like that. So I think there's always something to be working on.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to ask, you touched a little bit there on like cycles, and obviously you're training in cycles. For you, for the majors, I mean, usually you're competing at every major. If that's your choice, I know, but the one you did in Hong Kong, was that the focus was to qualify for Worlds? So then for Vegas, is there like a different focus? Like, how do you plan which race you want to peak at? Because I guess it must be difficult having these majors, but also you want the qualifying spot, but then that World Champs is in June, so you want to peak for that. So it's all another juggle, I guess.
So the pressure was off, obviously, after Hong Kong. I mean, we were Amsterdam and Hong Kong. Both goals were to try and get your qualifying spot as soon as you can, to then just take the pressure off. Well, not, you're not going to relax, but it just takes one thing off of the table. Vegas was, if you wanted to try something different, you can try something different. It's technically, it's a free race, and so is Glasgow, where I can just maybe trial things and just see how I feel and then adjust, and then obviously build into Chicago. I am pushing maybe a little bit more now towards Glasgow and Chicago. I feel really good. Me and Anthony have a chat, and he sort of said, look, we can either structure it like this if you feel that you need like a bit more recovery and then push into Worlds, or if you're feeling strong. So we have that chat and we just see how my body is responding to things. But I actually feel really good at the moment. So I kind of just want to push on. And I think, I'm not saying age is a limiting factor, because you can look at some of the ladies, like, for example, Amy, who's phenomenal. But there is maybe possibly only so long you can keep going. I think she's exceptional, and I don't think everyone will be able to pull out a performance like that as they get older.
Yeah. And
I think I take every opportunity now. So every time I can get an elite spot, I'd like to race, because I don't want to look back in a few years' time and go, oh, I wish I'd done that. So for me, it's just every opportunity is sort of a privilege to line up with those ladies. And I just want to take it and see how hard I can push. So I think at the moment, because I know that I'm probably nearer the end of my sort of competing in the elite, rather than, someone like Joanna, who's 22, I think.
Yeah.
Or 21, 22. She's got a long road ahead where she can keep competing. I think there's just that element where I just want to keep pushing, because I know I don't know how long I have left. You don't know when an injury might come in or something like that. So for me, I think I just want to push the season a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's fair, isn't it? And then, I mean, Amy Bevilacqua is just like a real that she's doing it at 51. And to be fair, Kate, you're an inspiration as well. Like turning 40 the other day and being right up there, and this year that you're having is incredible. Especially when you're competing against 21 and 22-year-olds, like they don't have kids and have to juggle life, and there's a lot more pressure on older athletes, because you've got your life set up and you're trying to juggle like training as well as everything else. It's a lot easier as a younger athlete, because like maybe you've just come out of uni, or you're still living with your parents or whatever, and you can focus a bit more just on you, can't you?
Yeah. So I remember one of the elite races, where we had our briefing and then we were told the briefing was really close to the start of the race. And they said, oh, by the time you get to the venue, I was thinking, there's only going to be like half an hour to warm up. I was like, do you know how long I take to warm up? I'm old.
Whereas, I think Joanna said she just chatted the last time, didn't she, before? And she was like, oh, I need to warm up. And I was like, you're going to annoy everyone because you're just a 22-year-old that can just rock up, doesn't really need to warm up, go and race. But aside from that and what you were just saying about this, you know, taking every opportunity, and like, there was a notable difference in your performances where you seem to, maybe it's from when you were sitting on that rower next to Meg Jacobi and you had that moment where you were like, what am I doing here? And Meg was like, oh, hey, Kate. And obviously everyone's spoken about that. But there seems to be a notable difference in your mentality, that you feel like maybe you belong up there now, and like you belong at the top of the sport and on that podium, and you really feel like you deserve to be in this Elite 15 on those podium spots. And like me and Em were talking about it before this podcast, saying like you're a massive contender for being on the podium spot for world champs, but also because it's a one-day race and you don't know what's going to happen, like you obviously must be thinking you could win this race now, or you could take a world champ spot.
So when I had that moment in world champs where I was like, oh dear. and me and Anthony spoke about it afterwards. I said, I almost felt, it sounds silly, like, oh, I should slow down because I shouldn't be here. Like,
that's crazy, isn't it?
And because you just think, this, and then I thought I'd skipped a lap because I was waiting to be tapped on the shoulder and told I was disqualified because we get DQ'd for that. Because I didn't realise I'd come out of the burpees in that place. So then I was thinking, I haven't passed anyone on the run. And then I was, but then the next time, Anthony was like, so can we just get over this whole fear of like getting up in, like, just own it. So then the next time I got into the row, I was like, yeah. And then I had a bit of a sled incident in Vegas. We won't go into it, but and I came off the sleds, I think down in 10th or 11th. And in my head, I just went, you're getting on that rower in third. Like that was my, that's a weird thought for me. I was like, I want to be in the top 3 when I hit that rower. I'm going to have to graft through the burpees. I'm going to have to just run hard. And that was sort of my goal in my head was, normally, I mean, a year ago, if I'd have put that thought in my head, I would have thought, are you nuts? So, and I got on the rower in third. So I think I'm just having a bit more belief in myself. And I mean, Anthony's been really good in going through that, but it's quite funny because sometimes I'll do something in a race and then we speak about it afterwards. He's like, okay, can we not do that in the next race? So then he sometimes says, can we just skip the bit where we have to go through the race and then we have to convince you that you are good at it and then we do it in the next race? He's like, why don't we just skip that bit and just go straight to the...
I do think, like, I mean, the thoughts that go through your head during the race must be, it's like, it's such a long, it's a long race and it's a short race, but I feel like you said, you came out of the sleds in 10th, but then you came back to third. I think like to have the mindset to say that to yourself and you're going to get to the rower in third and to not give up and not think, oh, well, I've lost it after the first, like, I think to have that kind of power to switch in your head and go for it and focus and like dial in is something that not everyone has.
But you could be in 10th place and 20 seconds back. You could also be in third place and 20 seconds back. It's the same difference.
Yeah.
So placement isn't everything. We could all just be bunched up at one point and then you can take a lot of places and things like that. And you don't know if someone else is going to get a penalty. You don't know if someone else is going to struggle at one point in the race. So you should never count yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Did you feel like you had a bit of like imposter syndrome at one point? Like, as in you just felt like you shouldn't be there, but even though your results and everything was showing that you should be there, like now, do you feel like that's gone now? Like what going forward, say Glasgow and the world champs, have you totally revamped how you're thinking and you're like, right,
I'm way more positive. I think more about maybe my race than everybody else around me, and I know what I'm capable of. And I just back myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think I used to possibly, like, lunges used to be a weaker a weaker area, and I used to run into them thinking, oh no, it was. Now I'm like, no, you've got this. I mean, Vegas, I had a bit of cramp and things through the bottom of my foot, so they were hurting me quite a lot. But Amsterdam and Hong Kong, I think because I don't know, just if you believe in yourself a bit more and think, oh, I can do this, maybe it hurts a bit less. I don't know, maybe it doesn't, but
tell yourself that. I think that's a good one. It hurts less if you believe it's okay. Yeah, I mean, your performances have been incredible. I wanted to ask a little bit about you went over to Germany, is that right, to do some like performance testing, and is it with Get Shapes?
yes.
Yeah.
So Get Shapes are one of my sponsors. I'm one of their athletes. And they flew me to Germany. It was lots of medical tests. So they check on my heart, my lungs, they do my bloods, they check everything like that. And then we have sort of the spirograph test. And then I did a lot of strength and conditioning and things like that test. So like pull-ups test, press-ups test, looking at my hamstrings, looking at my quads, looking at my broad, like just everything really. It won't surprise you that I think I accelerated really well in the press up test and the broad jump test, which are 2 elements for burpees. And then I think Zara she excelled really well in everything sort of hamstring and quad, like, and she's amazing at like lunges. I was like, so we're like, oh, okay, this is kind of like gearing up. But it was also good to watch her so when we were doing tests side by side, and when she was doing something hamstring related and I was doing it, watching the speed at which like doing sort of the Nordic cult, like that, the sort of lowering yourself down section, watching her do it in comparison and where she was getting to before she accelerated and where she could hold it, and myself. So it was quite good comparing yourself to someone who excelled in that and where they were. So it sort of gave me a little bit of a gauge of what I need to work towards as well. So I found it really useful in that sense. And it's just nice, like going with a friend as well. So, but they're amazing. You know, we got a whole full medical report afterwards. Anything that, you know, they weren't 100% happy with, they can retest. All the areas that, you know, not necessarily weak, but my weaker things you can work on. So I found it really, really useful. I think they test me again in like 3 months, and they've been really, really supportive. So and I love the insoles. I found them really, really useful because I have quite high arches I did like lots of, sort of dance and gymnastics and things when I was younger. And just having their insoles in my shoe, I think just give my foot a little bit more stability, especially like lunges, wall balls. There's sort of more of my foot going through the floor. So I found it super useful.
Oh yeah, no, it's just getting that information as well, isn't it? Like the more that you know about those, maybe the little muscles that could do with a little bit more strength, the more you can help excel your performance for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
And you also you talked about your recovery as well. You like briefly mentioned that you're going to go around to the recovery center next to you. You've obviously got a good setup because like you've got your gym. Obviously, is that where you do most of your training, in your own gym?
Yeah.
Yes, what a setup. I mean, it's
So
really cool to be able to have your own gym and your own space to do something, isn't it? But you've got the recovery center next door as well, so it means you've been doing a lot of infrared
drive,
saunas.
and they've been amazing. I used to go in there anyway, and then they offered to help me out a little bit. So they have they've got loads actually. I probably won't even be able to name it all, but they've got infrared sauna, cryotherapy. They've got sort of the boots, the compression boots. They've got an oxygen hyperbaric chamber. They've got, I think they've got a few new things coming in as well, and they're just they've got an infrared bed as well. So I quite like to ice bath, if I'm honest. So I've got an ice bath at home.
Yeah.
And I use a few of their treatments as well, so like the infrared sauna and things like that. And it's just making sure your body's recovered enough. And if it helps you, once again, an extra 1-2%, then it's all small margins, but they add up.
Yeah, totally. And how often do you ice bath every day? If it's at home, do you like start your day with it or anything like that, or
I would often do it at the end of the day.
Okay.
But I always finish a shower on cold.
No.
Honestly, try it. And I tell you what, when it's actually really, really, really cold in the winter and you've been in a warm shower and you get out, you feel cold. If you finish your shower on cold, you get out, you then don't, and you wrap yourself up, you actually then feel warm.
It's like my worst nightmare. I've been moaning about how cold it is and like doing everything to stay warm. I've got a fire. The fire is on full blast and it has been on full blast for the last week. I'm like, I am the worst. But I could do an ice bath, like if I jump in it and then I'm in it. But I think the just feeling of like turning a shower to cold and having to stand underneath it. I mean, there's your mental capacity, like there's your mental strength.
I use things like that as a bit of a mental thing as well. So ice baths for me are probably, I know they are helping me, but I quite like the mental side of it. And I think sometimes I go to finish my shower and I'm like, no, put it on cold because you do it every day and you're not stop it. Like, yeah, and there's definitely maybe something wrong with me, but
it's the mentality though. I can see it in you, like the driven, you're so driven, like so mentally strong. You've got these things that you do and you're kind of like, no, that's it. I've said I'm going to do it, but it's to yourself. Like you're not in competition with anybody else, which I think is like, that's the way, isn't it? You fall in love with the process and then the results come, and you've got this process down to a T because you are doing it for you and you're kind of competing against you, you know? If you got out that shower without it being cold, you did it yesterday. So yesterday, Kate Davey was better than today, Kate Davey that's let herself down type thing.
I'd be really annoyed if I didn't do it. I was really annoyed at my wall balls, and anyway, and I've come back from Vegas and every single day, poor Anthony, literally my coach it's basically the same video of me in a different outfit every day doing between 105 and 110 unbroken every single day at the end of my session. And I just send him a video of it's exactly the same video, just in a different outfit with probably different music. And I just normally write, "Are you bored yet?" He's like, "Do we need to do this every day? I'm not programming this." And I'm like, "Just going to do it every day." He was like, "I thought you were going to do it every other day." Now I've started doing it every day, and I think it's just a mental thing. I probably need to calm that down a bit, but
yeah, but it's like discipline. You're determined, like you know where you want to make the gains and which bit you want to tweak and what you want to fix. So
we are not dropping that wall ball ever again.
Yeah, I can. But then, I mean, I think actually it was probably I know we often see it in the men's race, but it was really tight on the wall balls in the female race at Vegas, wasn't it? Like there was quite a few places all within like 10-20 seconds, which went up and down because of the wall balls. And I think Lucy came from behind to get the fifth spot on the wall balls. So it shows that it can come down to it in the end.
I did a lot of wall balls, let's just say.
Yeah.
How I was going to say
135.
Did you do 130? Because it was the counters, was it the counters?
I don't know. But I just know that I did 135, which is quite a long time to stand there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
that is a lot of wall balls.
That's painful.
On the wall balls, just because we're talking about Vegas, I can't remember. Anka Zarding, is it the girl at the end that was really struggling? Like how was she? Anika.
Secca
Arning, Anika Harding. I just got that totally wrong. Secca Arning. Yeah. How she finished that race? I mean, that is watching it was hard to watch actually.
Yeah.
But
so because we're not allowed to run back down, so we used to be able to go back down, and we've not allowed to do that, partly because of drugs testing and things. Once you've crossed the line, you have to be, if you are being tested, you then are assigned your chaperone, and you're not allowed to break contact, because if you broke contact, that would be a positive test.
Okay.
So and I think it's just one of those where they said, actually now once you've crossed the line, you have to stay there. So before we could go back down, so none of us, I wasn't aware of, you couldn't really see down the ramp and around the corner. None of us were actually really aware. And it wasn't until I watched it back that I saw, because then she crossed the line and I think she sort of collapsed on the floor, how we all do. And none of us, I don't think, were aware of what had actually been going on. And we just thought, oh, okay, she's shattered.
Yeah.
And then I went off to sort my foot out, and then someone said, oh, like the medical team are with Seka. And it wasn't until I watched, and obviously then she wasn't very well, and I saw her later on because we were watching the men's race, and she sort of came and sat for a bit. But it wasn't until I watched it back that I was like, oh my goodness, but how you pushed yourself through that, like her mental strength is insane. Yeah. And it was also like in, I want to say Vienna, when Lauren Griffiths passed out on the track.
And then came back.
She came back and did 100 wall balls.
I know. Unbroken as well, wasn't it?
I was just like, it just, that strength I find absolutely incredible. I mean, I would always try and finish. My whole thing is, unless I was seriously injured, I always try to finish a race, because I think in my head, if I quit, I'd be more likely to do it again. Yeah. And I think I'd be more annoyed at myself the next day if I didn't finish a race than I finished it and came last. But that's just my head and how I think of it. Every athlete is different, and I think I'd be more inclined to quit again. But there are circumstances when obviously you are seriously ill, or you might do yourself some damage, where it is best to obviously stop, because you don't want to injure yourself or hurt yourself. But yeah, that was so, like, I couldn't believe that she pushed through that. That was insane. And fair play to her.
I know. And you were just willing her on to do that last wall ball. I just wondered what, all the girls thought, but it's crazy that you guys couldn't see it. I think that sometimes you get a better view from obviously watching it than you do when you're there. But hopefully, she's okay.
We're not allowed to run back down anymore.
Yeah, and you don't really realise that when you're watching, because you girls always used to run down and cheer each other on, and
now
with the
they
kids
make us suffer alone.
Now you just have to stay back there with your chaperone and suffer. Oh man, that is crazy. But talking about Vegas as well, how was the relay? That must have been a good crack.
Yeah, and it was. I know we discussed like slow and fast courses, and there's lots of chat about it. It definitely was a tougher course. So we were debating whether it would happen or it wouldn't happen. I'm confused about the time, because online it says it's 52:53, and then on the screen at the time it was saying it was, or was it
53:14?
Yeah, but if you look online it says it's 52:53. So on the chip time, yeah, I'll take that one. So it was really good, but it's a totally different ball game because it's so anaerobic. And it was also quite difficult because of how it was set up. We had to run 3/4 of our run, then do our station, and then run again. So I felt really sorry for Lauren, because they were on the ergs, to go all out like on the ski or the row, and then have to get off and then sprint half a lap. Because then we were thinking, how hard do we, because normally you would go max all out in your station, because you've only got, say, 50 meters to run or something, and you can hang on for that. So then we were thinking, well, do we need to hold a little bit back? We were sort of changing tactics a bit. But if you'd have told me 2 years ago I'd be running in a relay with Lauren Weeks for a world record, I would have thought you were absolutely nuts. So
but now you believe it.
Yeah, it must be nice to do something together though, and like work as a team, because obviously you are racing against each other as much as you're also racing against yourself in the Elite 15. But it must be nice to kind of combine it and know that you're each doing your bit for your team in the relay.
Yes, and it works really well because we all do have different strengths. Yeah. So Zara likes to lunge and do sled pull. I like to burpee, and then I did the farmers. Lauren are obviously good on the ergs and the wall balls and the sled push. So no one was sort of after the same stations, which worked really well. And it's just a really, really nice vibe. It's everyone, I think, from the outside thinks it's a bit, how does it work that Anthony coaches all of us and technically we're against each other? But even if you're not having your best day, it's nice if one of your teammates is, and it makes you feel a little bit less alone out there. And you get little looks. So when I've been on the road before and Lauren looks across and she smiles, and things like that just help.
Yeah.
And even if you're not having your best day, if you can hear on the commentary so and so, you know, there, or that they're doing this, it's nice. And I think that it will probably only work with certain personalities or certain types of athletes, but for us it just really, really works. And it's been a really nice vibe. We have like a little chat group, and we don't chat loads, but we have a little chat group, and that's nice. And when we were in Vegas, we all went round to Lauren and Anthony's for sort of an afternoon, evening as well. So yeah, it's
that's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little team.
Yeah, nice to have the support and people that know what you're doing and going through and how the highs and lows of it, because not everyone understands. Like it's a very kind of niche thing being an elite athlete in a certain sport, and you know, you guys are traveling all over the world, and you know, sometimes traveling alone, not with family. So to have like the support network, it must be nice.
Yeah, I can't take like the children a lot of the time now, because obviously they're in school.
Yeah.
And also, you know, when we discuss Chicago, can they come to Chicago? I'd have to obviously ask the school if they could come. But then the other thing is my schedule is quite, if I've got media, and it's not really a holiday sort of environment. It's stacked with kind of media, meetings, training, getting my sleep, and then they're going to be jet lagged, which isn't fair. And if, you know, they're 7 and 8, they don't understand jet lag. And if they want to sleep and I'm dragging them off because I need to go to a meeting, it's not, that's not fun.
It's also
that's not fun for anybody.
It's sometimes it's like when you get to your level as well and what you're trying to do, and like you said, you have all the media and you've got other things and pressures on you. It is more like a job. It's not like, oh, you know, gonna go to the world champs, or you're gonna go and watch someone, let's make a holiday of it, I might do one race that'll last an hour, they can come and watch. It's, you know, you're gonna be there for the whole weekend. Well, 4 days, isn't it? And I'm guessing you're gonna be doing the relay at the end. You're gonna be doing
yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. Like, so last year that was obviously Sandy who picked. So
have they said who's the, like, last time they chose people, didn't they, to be the captain?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. I don't know if they'll do that after Glasgow, or like maybe after Last Chance.
Yeah,
I don't. When's Last Chance?
Quite late,
Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah,
it was quite late. Yeah, last time it was quite.
Lastminute.com. come into our team.
We were so unorganized. It was hilarious. Everyone, we got there. I'm like, Sandy, everyone's got uniforms. He's like, oh yeah, we were meant to do that, and I'm like,
who put a guy in charge?
I basically had to do it. And then we were in a meeting. I turned around. I was like, Sandy, you're asleep. Like. And then everyone else had all these tactics, and I think they'd done like maybe time trials, or people have been applying. I think it was still up in the air until that morning, who was on what station. We were still like, what do you want to do then? I don't know, who can still walk? And I was limping around on the balcony with Zara, because we had obviously done Elite 15, we'd done our doubles, and then we're on our third day of racing. And I remember thinking, I don't know if my legs can work. We're sort of running like this, and Zara's like, I don't know if I can do the warbles. I'm like, you're going to have to, because I am really hurting. And then I think we were sort of stood there, like trying to just do air squats to see who could actually air squat. But it's interesting once your adrenaline starts going, because I was thinking, I just don't even think I can run right now, let alone burpee or anything. And then as soon as you start going,
it something takes over. Yeah.
I don't even think I really warmed up that much. I thought,
by then it was just like
100 and see what happens. Yeah.
And then how about obviously this new Elite 15 doubles is coming out. We've got the first 3 that have come from Melbourne. Are we going to see a Zara
out there?
Yeah, we raced.
Oh yeah, because I was watching and I saw you girls on there.
Yeah.
It was a good crowd. The girls that won, they were fast. We chatted to them again. We raced against them again in Auckland, didn't we? But are we going to see a Zara and Kate doubles?
Yes.
Yes.
We are going to either do Paris or London.
Yes.
Because
Hopefully.
you guys have got a 58, 55, 58.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really close to your relay that you've just done with 4 of you. Like that's like 55, 58. We just did a 106, like 55, 58. Come on. That's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't even know what
we
to
do
say
have a
to
bit of
that.
a laugh on the way round. So like we shout at each other, and so normally I'll finish a lot of the stations, but my whole thing was, can you just finish the row just to give myself a breather? And in Amsterdam, we were running towards the row, and I saw her pull ahead. I went, "Don't you dare get on that row first." She just looked at me. She's like, "I don't care." Just sits down, and I'm like, "Oh." So we do have a little bit of joking on the way round, and
Oh, so
and
good.
So
stuff like
the
that.
key to it is basically to race each other to the start of each station, so you don't have to finish it, which makes a little competition within the competition.
And
We'll
then
try
she
that next
sprints
time.
off, and I spend basically the kilometre just catching up.
Yeah. Oh,
So, but
that's exciting though. That'll be really nice to get back on the floor together. And
yeah, and obviously we're obviously not qualified, so we'll have to qualify. So that's why I don't know whether doing Paris first. So if something goes wrong, you still then have London, and that could be, you know, say you got a penalty, or you ran an extra lap, or you missed a lap, and something like that. You never know what could happen in a race. So hopefully, if we can go to Paris, and then if we need to, we've got London as a backup.
Yeah, because like it's like you said, like on a day, you never know what can happen on a day. Like, or one of you can get cramp, or someone rolls their ankle. Anything can happen, can't it? So
Yeah.
having a backup to be able to race would be awesome. But that'd be so cool to see you girls. I mean, I think it's going to be a fast race because I think some of it's just so unique, isn't it? Like doubles compared to singles, and then with the relay, it'll add another dimension. But I mean, you're going to do another 3 races at World Champs. How would you race back to back on a weekend? Because me and Em did that. We did our 1 doubles race, and then we just couldn't move the next day. And I was just like, I just can't even think about doing another race.
I think because of my training now, my recovery is a lot better, and I make sure I cool down after a race. So after a race, I will go and sit on the bike for like half an hour. I might row for 10 minutes. I might do 10 minutes of, like, I almost do an hour after I finish racing of just steady flushing my body out. And then even the next morning, so in Amsterdam, I then did all of the cool down and everything. The next morning, I went and did sort of like 5 or 6K really slow in the morning, and then we were racing, I think, at like lunchtime, just to get myself moving again. So I think almost just if I keep going, and then deal with it the week after.
No,
I do think that's the key.
Yeah, like instead
and
of.
then I think the relay is just literally, that it's short, sharp bursts. So I think in your head you're like, just hang on, just hang on, just hang on.
Yeah, and you must be looking forward to Glasgow for not having to travel as far.
Yeah, the 8-hour time difference will be a lot easier than Vegas was quite tough.
Yeah,
I did use the time shifter app. Have you heard of it?
No.
Really good, really liked it, and used it in both directions. And I'm not very good with jet lag, and it really did help me. Tells you when to take like melatonin, when to take caffeine, when to use your eye mask, when to sleep, and it gives you almost like a 4 or 5 day plan, like maybe a day or 2 before you travel, what you should do on the plane when you get off the plane. And I found that really useful, actually. First time I'd used it, so I'll definitely be using that when I go to Chicago. So yeah, just to be able to jump on a plane for an hour to Glasgow is nice.
Dream.
Yeah. And then Chicago, I'll just make sure, I think it's 6 hours in Chicago, the time difference.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll just make sure I'll probably go the same sort of time, maybe a couple of days before than when I went to Vegas. And that was another thing, I hadn't booked anything. We were just trialing how I went with Vegas with when I traveled, and then we can adjust it for Chicago. So
yeah, good kind of practice, I guess, like going across doing the race, and because sometimes it's just the race experience and the jet lag experience and all that, it is good experience for then worlds and getting everything dialed in so you know what to do the next time. Yeah.
And I think you have to remember, even if I remember saying, like, I was on a call with my husband and I said, oh no, I've totally adjusted to the time. I've been sleeping at the right times. I feel good. It's not necessary, like, even though you're on the right time for race day, is what your body has gone through in the last week is more than it would have normally gone through, adjusting to the time. So you do have to take that into consideration as well, that you've probably spent more energy and sort of had to adapt. Even though you have adapted, you may have kind of pushed yourself a little bit more than you would have done in a normal week where you don't have to do that.
Yeah, like a normal taper where, say, you've been at home, where you start to like reduce the intensity and like the duration, or keep the intensity the same but reduce the duration, and then you're putting your body through the stress that you usually wouldn't put your body through 100%.
Oh, I get really twitchy in taper. I'm like, Anthony, I want to do more. I just feel like I'm ready to go. He's like, yeah, that's a good thing.
That's good. Yeah.
Just hold that a few more
Are you
days.
That's what we want on race day. I'm like, oh, okay, can I just not do extra? He's like, no.
Are you going to keep those wall ball videos going?
It's almost like a joke now, because he's 8 hours difference to me. He must wake up every morning and be like, oh, for God's sake.
God. First time. Yeah.
Here we go again.
First thing he sees every morning. He's probably wondering what outfit you've got on. You'll just have to mix it up. So you're doing something different for him.
Oh God. Well, we could probably speak for hours, but I know that you have a lot to fit into your day. So if you're ready, we usually finish the podcast with 8 questions.
Okay.
And the first one is, what shoes do you wear to race Hyrox?
Saucony Pro.
Good answer. Quick, I like it. Next is, which is your favorite Hyrox venue to race in?
Ooh.
I mean, you've probably raced in a lot, so that's quite a hard question.
I really liked Amsterdam.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, good. I like it. I don't think we've had that answer yet, so we'll take it.
Yeah.
Next one, I don't even know why I'm asking, but which is your favorite Hyrox station?
Burpees.
if not burpees, what would your second one be? If they took burpees out and you had to choose,
she wouldn't do the race.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have got convinced to do it. I'm going to say this because I'm making myself say this. It's going to be warbles, because that's going to be my new thing.
Yes. I love it.
In 2 years' time, everyone will be like, God, you remember Kate Davey, the warball queen? They'll be like, everyone will forget about burpees. It'll just be talking about Kate Davey's warballs. That's where you need to get to now.
I need to get to there. We need to turn warballs into burpees. That's
all right. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, next one. This is maybe quite hard. If you could do a doubles Hyrox with anyone in the world, who would it be?
My son George, when he's old enough.
Oh yeah, good one. Love that.
I mean, that'll be fast, won't it?
Yeah. Okay, next is, do you fuel for the Hyrox race? And if so, what do you have and when do you take it?
In the day, I will have kind of like all my electrolytes building up to it. I do take a gel before I race, and I take a gel mid-race. I've kind of played around. I used to take it sort of around the rower. I'm actually taking it a little bit earlier, because obviously it takes a little while to kick in, and it's almost like take it before you need it.
Yeah.
Because if you're taking it when you need it, it's almost too late to take it.
Yeah.
So I've now started trying to take it off of kind of either the sled pull or the burpees.
Okay. Yeah.
And I found that works. And then obviously after the race, like electrolytes and all of that sort of stuff, I reduce my protein a little bit on the day, just because like it's more slightly higher carb. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do you take your gel whilst burping because you're that fast? You've got so much time. Are you just like, I've got time, I'll just take my gel mid burpees? Most people would not take their gel on a burpee station because you just do not have time anywhere near burpees.
There's a moment me and Zara are really, really upset it wasn't caught on camera. It might even be on camera, but we need to check. In Hong Kong, because we'd been discussing gels, and she was saying when she was going to take it, and I was running like like alongside her, and she had her gel in her hand and she wasn't taking it, and I knew that she had said that's when she wanted to take it, and I was like, has she forgotten? And I shouted at her. I went, take your gel, and she went, okay. Like we're competing against. She said, I can't believe you shouted at me to take my gel, but thank you.
She just needed a bit of a push, a bit of instruction.
I didn't want her to forget, and she is my friend at the end of the day.
Oh, that's so good. It's the fact she was carrying it and running, like she'd done the hard
She'd
work.
obviously got it out to take it, and I was like, come on, take it, Tara. You said you.
Oh god. Well, that's it. No, it's good, and different things work for different people. Not everyone maybe could take it around the burpees, as they might feel like they'll see it again, but I definitely agree with the take it before you need it. Like,
Yeah,
definitely the right way to do it. Okay, next one. What's your favorite type of training session? Like a format?
Like, yeah.
Or sweaty.
Like if I saw maybe running, wall balls, burpees, dumbbell snatch, like that sort of stuff, box jumps. Yeah.
You'd love that.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, we've got two more, is in a nutshell, why should someone sign up for their first Hyrox?
I think it's always good to have a goal, and I think you'll find that you'll train more towards it, and it doesn't matter what your ability is. I think it's really nice to achieve something and have that accomplishment, and it will give you a focus, and then you can work from that. So I think it caters to everybody of all levels, whether you're starting just doing like a doubles or doing like a relay in a team of 4, trying your first solo, trying your first pro. I think it can appeal to so many people on so many different levels. And when you are on your way around and you're going, I'm never doing this again, I'm never doing this again, and then you cross the line and go, oh, should we sign up again? I'm not sure if I know anyone that's done one that hasn't done it, like who said they wouldn't do it again. I'm sure there is somebody out there, but most people, the majority of people that I see, if they've done one, they're signing up for another one.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then lastly, is there anyone that you would like to hear from that we could have on the podcast, or a type of person in the Hyrox world or kind of coaching world that we could speak to and get more information?
I don't know if you have done any podcasts, but I find it like people like Tia Toomey and things like that, who are now trying the doing Hyrox and things like that. I find that journey really interesting. Especially like fittest women on the earth, like CrossFit, crazy. So I've quite like listening to people who are coming into the sport who have been very, very good at another sport. I think that's quite interesting, because they've got a background in something else, maybe more strength based, and now this is obviously quite sort of running bias. I think anyone coming in from a different sport and then coming into it, I think is quite interesting, their take on it and how their training is evolving. I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Good answer.
It's the training as well, isn't it? It's like how everyone changes their training for them. Like you said, you've worked on your running and it's adapted, and then you found your training load and like building your training load up, and like doing 4 hours a day works for you, whereas for somebody else it might not. And then somebody coming from a strength background, do they do more running? Or someone that's a really good runner, do they need to get stronger? It's so interesting seeing how people train, because Hyrox is so young. Everyone's doing something different, but people are achieving what they need to achieve with a different strategy.
I don't think there's any one way and there's one answer. Everyone's just kind of muddling through because it's quite new, and it works for some and it doesn't work for others, and you just have to find out what works for you. So when sort of people say, oh, like you're coached by Anthony, it works amazingly well for me. It might not work for everybody, but you just have to find your kind of what works.
It'll be interesting, won't it, in years to come, when say like George's age, like when it's a sport that they can see already and they've maybe trained for. Like, you know, nobody that's doing Hyrox now that's at the elite level was probably doing wall balls in their bedroom when they were, you know. It's crazy that kids are going to grow up with it. It's super cool thinking it's going to be a sport that it's always been around, it's always been in their lives, they've always watched people do it. It's just
it'll be, I can't wait till he's old enough to See, is it 16 you have to be?
I think so. I think it was 16, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because I think the category is 16 to 24, isn't it? The youngest.
Yeah.
And he said, as soon as I hit 16, can I do a doubles with you?
You're gonna have to keep doing those wall
I'm like,
for another 8
probably
years.
too fast for me then.
Yeah.
That's a reason to train, isn't it? And then that's what like a lot of people have been saying, like the opportunity that I think Hyrox gives for people to do like a doubles with their mum and their dad, or with their daughters and their sons and stuff. It's like, it's a very unique sport to be able to like do something like that. I don't think there's really another sport in the world except for a running race, which but it's not really like, a running race isn't really working together. You kind of work together, don't you, as a team?
I'd absolutely love to do a doubles with him, and because he said, how long do you think I can beat before I beat Daddy in a 5k? I said, I think you'll do it before you're 10. He's like, he's so like, one of his best friends at Run Club does a 5k in 19 minutes.
What?
And he's 10. Yeah, so they are on it, these children. And then he said, how long before I beat you? I just looked at him and went, you're going to have to earn it. I'm not giving it to you.
That'll be the day. I think he's going to have his work cut
He
out.
likes that. He's like, I don't want you to give me a free win. And I'm like, no. You're going to have to earn that. And he's like, right, okay.
I will be fighting till the end. You are not being let to win. Oh, I love it. Love it.
So, yeah, but he went out with James at the weekend, and he was in front of James going, come on, Daddy, you're doing really well.
Oh, that's so cute.
Like, I love that he's in front of you and he's got time to encourage you.
Yeah, he's actually talking whilst running. Yeah.
So, yeah. But
awesome.
that would be a cool doubles.
Yeah, that would be. And I think it's ace, like especially the women's field, just it's so inspiring seeing so many mums with kids, and like even Tia Toomey now coming in, and she's obviously got her daughter. It's really nice to see more female presence in elite sport with and children coming through as well. And Hyrox is doing that really well, and you guys at the top of the sport are doing it super well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Unless there's anything else you want to add that we've missed or not covered, but where can everyone follow you to see how you get on in Glasgow and at the World Champs? Where's the best place to find you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm Precision Golf Kate, although there's a bit of a toss-up, even though I'm obviously at Precision Golf and I train a lot of golfers, whether I should change that. I don't really know now. Because I've been it's almost
it's
like
such
a bit
funny
weird.
one, isn't it? Everyone's like, let's go find the Hyrox girl, Kate, that plays golf.
So I don't know whether to change my handle or not. I've had a few people say change it, and then a few people said it's almost that weird that you should just leave it.
Yeah, it sticks out because it should be like Precision Golf Kate with a little bit of Hyrox or something.
So mainly Instagram, and then obviously if you're watching the live feed, you can watch the race, and you won't have to be up at 3 a.m. to do it this time.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a good time for everyone in the UK to watch, and nice that it's not as far for the UK athletes to travel as well.
Yeah.
Good luck in good luck in Glasgow, and at the World Champs. We will see you there. We will be watching.
Are you going to the World Champs?
Yeah, doing the doubles. So we will be watching the elite. I think you're the first day racing, I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to take the new tactic on it. I'm going to run to the rower first. I'm going to race you to every station so I don't have to finish it.
Okay, that's
the new tactic. That's going to get us a sub hour. I guarantee it.
And then just do what Zara does, and then just run off at full pelt. And I'm like, okay.
That's pretty much what happened in Melbourne, because we got caught up with the girls at the beginning. We were just going to go and do like a Hyrox, getting back into it, and then we got caught up with them because obviously it was the Elite 15 race, and Em ran off, and I buried myself on the burpee station. I channeled my inner Kate Davey. I just could not catch her. I was like, oh my God, my legs have stopped. I was literally like trying to catch you the whole way around. So I don't think I want to repeat that again.
Painful, right? Well, now we've got our new race strategy. So thank you very much.
It's going to make you super fast through the rock zone now.
Yeah.
It's going to be racing each other.
Fighting over the rower.
Why are they a minute quicker through the rock zone than anybody else?
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. Please share this episode, follow Kate, follow her journey, give her some support and love for Glasgow and the World Champs, and we will see you on the next episode.